Hey guys, I'm sorry I've been absent from YouTube for so long. I guess I've been pretty busy, and it didn't help that my laptop crashed, and also my desktop got hit by lightning one day. And I was also too lazy to make videos. This is, I guess, a bit of a comeback video. Recently, I went to Paris, France to give myself a treat because I did so well in the stock market this year. Almost all the scenarios that I predicted actually came true, almost all. So I'm very happy with that. So I decided to indulge. And of course, when I was in Paris, I couldn't help but look out for the newest perfumes, and I managed to visit most of the famous perfume places, except the Caron boutique and the Annick Goutal boutique, and I also skipped L'Ardisson Parfumeur, but I did drop by for a short visit at Parfum de Nicolet, and also Guerlain, of course, Chanel, Sephora, and I tried a lot of different scents, and it was quite weird and wonderful at the same time. But when it came to spending, I was a bit more tight-fisted, so I hunted. Actually, I stumbled upon a flea market, and I was very very lucky because I happened to move to a hotel near one of those flea markets in the district of Dugommier in Paris. I don't know whether you've heard of it, but anyway, they happened to have a flea market that afternoon, and I wandered amongst the different stalls, and some of them, about a quarter of these stalls or less, had perfume items, empty bottles, factuses, and stuff like that. But of course, I knew from my years of buying and selling on eBay what was expensive and what was not. So I ended up buying very little, and this here is exactly what I bought, 10 sort of mini bottles all in all. So let me just go through very quickly. They're all vintage, by the way, and they cost me around €2 each, so I think it was a good deal. Most of them are half full or more. Okay, let's start with this one. This is from 1987, and it's in a very distinctive octagonal flacon. I think it's 5 mils, and this is Lulu by Cacharel. I have another version of this, but this one is surprisingly rich and long lasting. It lasted 12 to 14 hours, and it's just the EDP. I love testing out women's perfumes because they have more character than the men's in general. Of course, now a lot of things are unisex, and they are launching more and more very strident and statement-making perfumes. Of course, I'm talking about the niche houses, and some designer houses are also trying to keep up. But back where all these came from, during that age, almost all mainstream perfumes had to make a statement, or they wouldn't be able to compete, right? So it's a very different ball game from these days. So this is Lulu. Okay, next to it is this tiny mini of Halston, distinctive flacon of Halston, and I think this is the pure parfum, but it's either evaporated or more than half used. And this one, I don't know what to make of it. It's also a distinctive scent, and I haven't read up on the notes, so I'll give this one a skip. Next one are two men's perfumes. So I start with this from Roger and Gallet, and this is Jean Marie Farina Eau de Cologne, extra old, it says in French, and it's almost full. It's a citrus cologne which doesn't stand out much to me. Okay, then behind it is the one that I was eyeing when I went to that store. Is Jules Eau de Toilette by Christian Dior, and it is about 3/4 full. This one smells a lot like the Yves Saint Laurent fragrance called Kouros. I smelled Kuros on my trip for the first time at the airport duty free, and I admit that it was a shocking smell. And when I opened this later when I reached Paris and bought it, it reminded me very strongly of Kuros. Okay, next to it is a lady's perfume, and this is Knowing in the old style of flacon, and this is Eau de Parfum, and is much richer and more multi-dimensional than the Knowing that I can smell at the Estee Lauder counter near my home. This is much richer, and it's of course a rose-based fragrance, very complex and multi-layered. Next, we come to another men's perfume. This is Hermès Eau de Cologne, and I ended up wearing this almost daily for the remainder of my trip to Paris, which lasted 5 days and a half. And this one is quite distinctive for an Eau de Cologne, a bit unusual and not really citrus as most other Eau de Colognes are for men. Next to it is a very rare bottle of Chunga. I'm sorry it can't seem to focus, this new camera of mine. Chunga by Vial, the House of Vial, and they were originally Furriers, and this is the third fragrance I have smelled from the House of Vial, after Zybelline, Antelope, and of course Secret de Venus. So this is the fourth actually. So Chunga, Parfum de Toilette. The last two will also be the ones, no, actually there are three. The next one I have a big bottle of parfum of, and this is the Eau de Toilette formulation of Cabochard from Grey. I did a review on this. So it smells exactly like my perfume from the bigger bottle, a much lighter version of it, but all the notes are similar. I was pleased with that. And next to it is Givenchy 3 from Givenchy. This is a rather quite sought after Chypre, which is also reformulated, although it's still available. And the last one of all is by Nina Ricci, and it's called Fleur de Fleurs. And I tested it out today, just a drop, and it's actually very bewitching. Maybe bewitching is not a good word. It's very alluring, and it's a bit more strident than the usual Nina Ricci perfumes of the 40s to 80s era. Okay, so that's all I have for you. This is from France, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.